My dad, it was sort of like a master class in death because he wasn't afraid at all.
That's Dr. Christine Carter, a happiness expert, telling you that her father taught a master class in death. But here's the thing. Christine Carter is a happiness expert. And what happens when a happiness expert runs into all kinds of experiences that should prompt unhappiness? What can we learn from her? Dr. Christine Carter, welcome back to Diacardia, and share what the last couple of years have been like for you.
Yes, well, it has been quite a few years for me. About 3 years ago, my mom, who I thought was like the healthiest person I knew, got sick. And turned out she had ovarian cancer and it was everywhere. And I moved in with her and my dad to help take care of her at the end of her life. She didn't live very long. She only lived a few months, from going for a hike and out to lunch with one of my kids, to death, in just, it seemed like just a flash. Right after she died.
And that was a big surprise. That wasn't what you were expecting. You were expecting something else.
No, I mean, it just was the start of like really a lot of really surprising changes. And I realized that I hadn't had a lot of loss in my life. And I had to learn a lot about grief, right? All of a sudden, this very healthy mom, very involved in our family, somebody I saw all the time, was poof, gone. And about a couple of weeks after she died, a close cousin of mine also passed away. He overdosed accidentally and died. And right before then, also one of my closest friends from college who married a childhood friend, who was a doctor, very surprisingly had a heart attack and passed away. And right before my mom's memorial, I was diagnosed myself with breast cancer. And aside from my mom, I would have said my mom was the healthiest person I knew, and then me, right? I've just always really been interested in health behavior. So right. I was shocked to find that I also had cancer.
Right. And that sequence, you're a friend, a really good friend, a cousin, your mother, and then you getting cancer. We're talking about like 3 months or so, right? Just one hit after the next.
Yeah. And it just kind of continued from there, like lots and lots of loss. So my husband and I have 4 kids, and we had been thinking about downsizing anyway. But then it just all happened, and we ended up selling the house that we'd that we had raised our kids in. And that was like a wonderful kind of loss, but a loss the same, right? Like it was just, it was positive, but there I was like grieving my mom and my friends and my cousin. And in this, like then my dog died, and grieving my own sense of myself as being healthy, and like having to pack up my children's childhood, right? They're all off. We were really like moving into this stage of life of being true empty nesters. The following year, the youngest graduated from college. They were all truly launched. Right after we'd moved and gotten through all of that, and the youngest graduated from college, my dad died. Also kind of weirdly, like unexpectedly. He really sprinted through the finish. He had cancer too, and we knew that. And in fact, we thought for sure he would go before my mom. It wasn't like we thought he was the healthiest person, but I mean, he died the same week that he like went, drove him drove himself 2 hours to see a little league game, and on the way had the presence of thought, like, or the presence of mind to call me up and realize that I was really busy and probably hadn't fed myself dinner, and so couldn't get me a burrito, right? Like, I mean, he really was like super active in our lives, and like beating us in Rummy Cube, and having, like, he just, no cognitive decline, very little physical decline, and boom, then he was gone too.
Yeah.
And
So we're talking to Christine Carter here, a happiness expert, an expert in human emotion, an expert in thriving. And now you've reeled off 5, 6, including a dog, 7, including a house, aspects of grief in your life. And I want to just slow us down for a minute to say that I knew you throughout this time. Your father had had cancer for a while. We probably talked about your dad 10 or 20 times. But you're not the kind of person who sits back and life happens to them. You're the kind of person who grabs life by the horns. And one of the things I thought it would be great for us to talk about would be medicine. And talk a little bit about, I mean, you learned so much, I know, with your mom's cancer, your dad's cancer, your own evolving cancer, and things that have happened related to the cancer. But how would you describe like traditional medicine and what you would say to people who are experiencing this illness themselves, others in their life? You know, how did you attack it as a happiness expert? How did you attack illness?
yeah, well, I have found great purpose and meaning in sort of reclaiming agency in the whole medical process myself. So I gained a ton of experience with all these deaths, with the hospital systems, particularly related to cancer, and not just my own, but of course both of my parents. And I had always been interested in health and longevity, and I came to see that longevity really wasn't the end game. Neither of them was super old, right? They both died. My mom had just turned 80, and my dad was 84. And my dad, it was sort of like a master class in death, because he wasn't afraid at all, and he really felt that he'd lived a super long life, and he was willing to walk away from treatment. They could have kept him alive in the hospital. He would have not been able to live outside of the hospital, but they were willing to keep him alive for a month or so to see if another experimental treatment would work. And there was no way he was going to do that. I had to talk him into living long enough to say goodbye to all the kids. And which he was very glad he did, right? But it just, I mean, I've gained so much perspective on how our culture has just become completely longevity mad, right?
It's wonderful. The work you're doing is always so great. Christine Carter, author of Raising Happiness. So thanks for joining us in the sweet spot here of Diacardia. Totally grateful to you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Who might benefit from Christine's wisdom? Letting a parent live and letting a parent die is one of life's most treacherous yet tender journeys. Comment to share what you experienced listening to Christine. Tell me a little bit about your story if you would. This was one of 3 episodes with Dr. Christine Carter. Look for the others to hear more from her brilliant mind and her wise heart. And keep growing through Diacardia, the art and the constant practice of speaking from your heart and listening through your heart. I'm Dan Mulhern.